Welcome to Family and Leadership 6-7. I'm Kim Reeder, and I am super excited about today. We've got some great stuff for you. Can you see that, Kevin? Can you see my slide?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
All right. I'm not sure how to. Every day is a new learning experience. I wanted to start with this quote really quick. And this quote is, "You'll be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books that you read." And Kevin Clayson is one of those people that I've met, and he's written a book that I've read that has changed me and just made my life a lot better. I've known Kevin for about 3 years. We met through his real estate company that he was doing, and he started a personal leadership side of that with some of his buddies, and it really has changed a difference. I don't think you know that, Kevin, about us.
I don't.
That you've made a difference to us, because we do usually interact in big class settings and we don't get a chance to talk one-on-one. But I did want to say thank you for the difference that you've made in our family, and just the vocabulary that you've given us. We've been able to think very differently. So
that means a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm super excited to introduce Kevin to everybody else. I made up this little slide for him so I didn't forget to tell you that he is the author of the book, Flip the Gratitude Switch. I'm not sure if this is self-proclaimed, Kevin, or if you actually have the official title of America's Chief Officer of Awesome, but I love that you introduced yourself as that. This is Kevin Clayson, you guys, and I'm super excited to to listen to what he has to share. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. If there's anything else you want to tell us about yourself, you can. What I really, really want you to share with us is your tale of two men, because that was one thing that shifted my thinking and gave me a lot of sparkler moments. We call them sparkler moments in this class, when you get that aha, and it was really good for me. So I'll send it over to you, Kevin.
Awesome. And I love the terminology sparkler moment. How cool is that? That's amazing. That's just like such a good visual. Well, hey, I am so thankful to be with you guys. And I'm so thankful that I have an opportunity to be here with you and to kind of share some of this stuff. What I'm going to share with you is game changing. And I don't say that because I just happened to write a book on it. The reason that I wrote a book on it was because it was the one thing that I was lacking in my life to be a total game changer. You have to understand, I come from a background of grew up in California, went to school, went to college, did all the stuff you're supposed to do, went and got a degree, got out of school, had no idea what the heck to do with my life. And I didn't know. And I ended up starting this company with my partners, and it's been this awesome journey. But while on paper, everything has sort of gone according to plan, a lot of what's happened to me sort of emotionally and just in my brain hasn't gone according to plan. And I got to a point in my life where I needed to make some major shifts. And I kind of went on this hunt to figure it out, and I couldn't figure it out. And so I could have just find a book or something off the shelf that gave me what I needed. And so what I ended up doing is going into major research mode, and I ended up creating something that has been such a game changer for me. And I think hopefully for some other folks as well. And it's made a difference for our family. And I wanted to kind of introduce the principle and introduce the concept with, as Kim mentioned, something I call a tale of two men. Now just a little bit of background. This is, in fact, a true story. So as I read about these two individuals, these are two individuals that I have known for a very, very long time, that I know very well still. And I want to kind of compare and contrast their lives for you. And I want you to pay attention to a couple things. As I go through kind of what I call the tale of two men, I want you to pay attention to where these men have very similar lives. And I also want you to pay attention to where these men have very different lives. The other thing that I want you to know that's just kind of a fun little tidbit, this is the first thing I wrote for the book. Like, I mean, yes, it was true, but I never even anticipated having this in the book. And I was sitting in a car traveling from California to Utah, and I was in the passenger seat. My brother-in-law was driving, and I was trying to sleep. It was like middle of the night. It was dark. We're somewhere in the desert in Nevada. And I had this total download that came, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I brought my phone out and I started to type, and I just started to put these notes together, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is the first thing I need to put in the book. And so I'm going to share this story with you about these two individuals that I know very well. So there's these two men, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what their day is like. Okay. Both of them wake up every single morning. Both of them live in a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. One of these men has a beautiful home that's like the perfect size for his growing family and his awesome wife. The other guy has this 5-bedroom, 2-bath home, but it's in need of a lot of repair. He's always worried about the prospect of financing the necessary repairs, and he always feels that nagging, frequent feeling that, oh, if I could just get a better job, or if I could just get my boss to pay me a little more money for the work that I do, or if I could just change my situation, maybe I could finally buy a home that would be better for me and for my family. So they live in a similar home, but kind of different, right? One's really a beautiful home, the other not so much. Now, I want you to kind of know what both these men go through when they wake up. Because see, the one man, the first guy, he lays in bed for a moment when he wakes up, and he feels his healthy heart beating. He takes this awesome breath of cool oxygen, and he takes a moment to just kind of sit there and go, man, I have this awesome body. And he looks at his fingers and his arms, and he's just, yeah, it feels strong. The second guy, he lays in bed for a moment, and he runs his hands down his rib to his big belly, and he just kind of wishes that would go away. But he just always says, oh, I'm just so busy, and I don't have time to go to the gym, and I'm just so overworked. And he just figures, this is who I am. This is always how I'm going to look, and I'm always going to be largely dissatisfied with it. Well, at about 6 a.m., both roll over to see that it's time to get up. They look at their alarm clock, they get up, and they get going. The first man, he takes another deep breath, and this time he feels this sort of rush of excitement when he wakes up. And it's kind of that rush of excitement that accompanies a new day that's full of all this awesome potential and this amazing, unpredictable life, but that's going to be exciting. He knows there's going to be these divine moments throughout the day where he can live his dream life doing his dream job. And then there's the second guy, this other good friend of mine. He wakes up every day, he takes another deep breath, and he kind of lets out that sigh of, oh, gosh, I can't believe I have to get up again. I barely got enough sleep. I'm so frustrated that I already have to get up. I don't want to go to work. I just make too little money, and I work at a job that nobody appreciates me. I don't make enough, and nobody likes me there, and I don't like anybody there. So here they are. They're up, and they're ready for the day, feeling fairly different. Well, the first man, when he gets out of bed, he does this thing where when his feet hit the floor, he says the words, thank you. And he goes around his bed and goes to the bathroom. He sees his wife in bed next to him, and he just thinks, I am such a lucky guy. And he thinks about his amazing wife and these amazing kids that he has. And he makes sure to be nice and quiet so that he doesn't wake his wife, because she works harder than he does. So he wants to make sure that she's able to get a little bit of extra rest. And then there's the second guy. The second guy swings his legs out of bed, and he says loudly, oh, I'm so tired, hoping to make as much noise as possible to remind his wife that he's the one that has to go to work while she just gets to stay home and be with the kids. You can see he maybe thinks a little bit differently about the role his wife plays, right? And he hopes that she realizes how lucky she is that she doesn't have to go get a job because he's out there doing the hard stuff every single day. Well, both of these guys, they make their way to the bathroom. They get ready to get into the shower. And the first guy, this happens all the time, the water starts to run over his body. He's feeling good. He starts thinking about what he could do that day. And he has these really cool ideas of things that he could do and ways that he can serve others. And he looks down, and he accidentally stepped on a toy that one of the kids picked up, or that one of the kids left in the bath the night before. He picks up the toy after stepping on it, and he goes, man, I love these kids. We had so much fun last night when we were playing these games. But the second guy, when he gets into the shower, he kind of grumbles to himself that, oh, why can't the water be hotter? Some days the water is too hot. And he's complaining that they need to get a new water heater. And then he is so depressed with his life, he just sits on the floor in the tub, and he sits on a very similar bath toy to the toy that the first guy stepped on. But when this guy, man number 2, sits on this toy, he gets so mad and he thinks, why can't these stupid kids pick up after themselves? I tell them all the time they need to pick up after themselves. They still leave their toys in here. Well, both men, after they kind of get ready for the day, they make their way to their closets. And the first man, he looks at his closet and he sees all these beautiful shirts and suits and ties, and he gets dressed and he feels so good about himself and ready to just go forward that day, looks in the mirror and thinks, man, I look awesome. The second guy looks at his closet and he thinks, I don't fit in any of my suits. I hate all my shirts. They're all too cheap. And you know what? I'm just going to put on a polo, and it's even a little bit snug. But if I have to go to work all day at a job that I don't like, not getting paid hardly anything, I might as well at least be comfortable. So he throws on jeans and a polo. Well, then there's the first man who goes into the kitchen and he's thinking about his kids, and he makes them breakfast so that as soon as they get up, they've got a nice hot bowl of oatmeal. He sees a few dishes in the sink, and he does those dishes for his wife before she wakes up, so she doesn't have to worry about it. But then there's the second man. The second man goes into the kitchen, and he's looking around, and he sees the dishes in the sink. He goes, oh, why can't my wife just do the dishes? Are you serious? She better get those done today. And then he doesn't make oatmeal for his kids. He gets a bowl of cereal out of the cabinet, and he tries to pour it as quietly as possible because he doesn't want the kids to wake up, because if they wake up, then he knows he's probably going to have to do something and help get them ready for the day. He's just trying to sneak out of the house as quietly as possible. Well, the kids do wake up for both men, and man number one greets his kids and hugs them, says, oh my gosh, I missed you. Did you have a good dream? And his wife wakes up, he hugs her and says, oh honey, I did the dishes. I hope that's okay. And here's some breakfast for you kids. And then man number two, when the kids wake up and they come into the kitchen, he immediately thinks, oh my gosh, why are my kids so loud? Seriously, it's like they're cranked up to 11 all the time. Guys, just sit down and let me get you some cereal. So they both go through the breakfast ritual, and they're ready to leave for the day. The first man, he tries to steal just a couple more seconds with the kids, play a little game, give his wife another extra kiss or two before he goes out the door. Man number two picks his bag up and tries to get out of there as quick as possible so he doesn't have to do anything else. And then the first man gets into his car, sits in his car, he looks around and he thinks, man, my car is awesome. This car is amazing. And you know what? I need to go put gas in the car, but at least I have enough to get me to work. No problem. That's great. The second man gets in his car and he sits there and he goes, oh, I can't believe this is what I'm driving at this point in my life. I'm supposed to be more successful. I should have a better car. I can't believe I'm driving this thing. And look at the gas gauge. It's almost empty. Oh, I barely have enough to get to work. Barely have enough gas to get to work. Guess I'll have to go get some later today. And both men, knowing that they have to get gas that day, they take out their phone, check the account balance in their bank account. The first man sees the amount that's in there and just thinks, wow, I am so lucky to be so abundant and to have so much. The second man looks at his phone and looks at the account balance and thinks, when am I ever going to have enough money to do the things that I want to do? Both men drive off to work. The first man is thinking about all the possibility that the day holds. The second man is thinking about just getting to his office, closing his door, and binging on Netflix, hoping that his boss doesn't find out, because man number two knows his life sucks, and so he might as well just lose it in a series on Netflix, because the real life that he's got isn't good enough to live. Now, these are two men who are fairly similar, right? Where's some of their similarities? Well, both of them have homes, they both have wives, they both have kids, they both have cars, they both have jobs. But where are they different? See, man number one, he seems to think he has this awesome house, this beautiful home, this amazing wife who he really wants to serve and love. Man number two thinks his home's not good enough, right? And he looks at his wife. He's kind of resentful of her that she gets to stay home while he has to go work. Both of them have jobs, but it sure seems like man number one loves his job while man number two kind of not so much, right? They both have kids. I think they both love their kids. I know they both love their kids. But man number one seems to have a different relationship with his children than man number two. They both have cars. Man number one seems to love his car. Man number two, not so much. Now, I told you that this is a true story. And the reason it's a true story is because both of these men I know very, very well. I know them very, very well because both of them are me. You see, man number one, the guy who loves his life, who loves his wife and his kids, and who just always is so amazed at the life that he has, that's who I try to be today. But it is not who I always have been. There were many, many years when on paper, everything was good, but in my heart and in my mind, nothing was good enough. So you have to understand, I describe to you who I am at two different points of my life, but understand, I have the same family, the same wife, the same kids, the same car, the same job, the same income. Everything is identical. The only thing that shifted for me was one simple idea, one word. I can share with you what shifted in one word. You ready for it? It's one word. It starts with a P. It's perspective. You know, a lot of times I think about it like this. Have you ever been to a 3D movie? And have you ever taken the glasses off during the 3D movie? You take the glasses off and it just kind of looks blurry, right? Well, I want you to imagine that you go to a 3D movie and nobody tells you it's 3D. And somehow, you know, you couldn't figure out that it's 3D and you're sitting there the whole time and you're watching the movie. It's a movie you're really excited to watch, but it's just blurry the whole time. You may walk away from that movie going, man, it was okay. I mean, it was blurry. I didn't really like it. But what if you found out, oh my gosh, it was a 3D movie? And what if you watch that same movie, but you just put on a pair of glasses? You simply shift the perspective and the lens that you use to view the same exact thing. Because think about it, that 3D movie, whether you have the 3D glasses on or off, here's the deal. It's the same movie, right? The dialogue is exactly the same. The action sequences happen at exactly the same time. The jokes are exactly the same. All of it, it's the same movie by the same director, everything. But what changes is your experience of it. See, what I had to figure out for me is that life that I had when I was man number 2 is still the life that I have today as man number 1. But my perspective has shifted drastically because I put on a pair of glasses that I call my gratitude glasses. See, gratitude is this thing that we kind of hear about, right? It's like, oh, just be thankful. And like we think about like Thanksgiving rolls around and like your parents, you know, they do that thing where they make you say what you're thankful for. And all you're really thinking is, I'm going to be thankful for when everybody shuts up so I can eat some turkey, right? Like that's kind of what happens at day. So we have heard about gratitude, but did you know that gratitude, when applied to your life like a verb, not a passive noun, when gratitude is something you do, not just something you feel, it can shift perspective. See, My Tale of Two Men, the reason why I wrote it, and it was the first thing I wanted to put into the book, is I realized all of a sudden that night as I was driving across Nevada in the passenger seat and I started to type, what I came to realize is, oh my gosh, I live the same life today that I was living a few years ago. But I am so much happier, so much more fulfilled today. Same wife, same kids, same job, same car, same income. But my experience of it is drastically different. Did you know that no matter what's happening in your life, there's always something magnificent about it? It's a simple function of utilizing gratitude. And what I say in my books, I say you activate gratitude. You make it something you do, not just something you kind of think about. And in another segment, I'll be excited to kind of teach you guys a formula of how you can take the life that you've got and apply a really simple 4-step formula on top of the life that you have. And it will shift the perspective of your life immediately. You'll put on a pair of gratitude glasses, and over time, your brain starts to become different and you will view the world constantly differently. You will always feel a greater sense of fulfillment and excitement. The same life you have today will feel like a brand new life because gratitude, when used the right way and applied as an active thing in our lives, actually has the ability and the power to change everything. I didn't become man number 1. I didn't change anything in my life. I just changed my perspective on my life, and I turned from man number 1, or from man number 2 to man number 1. So is that good, Kim? Do you want me to share anything else in this little segment?
That was perfect, Kevin. You just nailed it. It was perfect. We've been talking about how our thoughts can influence our actions, and I think you illustrated that perfectly. That was fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and close this segment off, and we're going to come back in just a minute, and you guys can watch the next video tomorrow where he's actually going to teach us how to go from being man number 2 to man number 1. So thank you so much for being with us, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Yay.
Yay.